centimeters into inches. So we start our conversion chain with 2.85 centimeters. And then you have to multiply that by another fraction where what has to go on bottom? Centimeters. Remember, they always have to be top and bottom so that they'll cancel out. Now, we're trying to go from centimeters to inches. Well, if you look at this little thing that we made, do you see anything in it about centimeters to inches?
No.
No. So look on the cover page, the back of it. Do you see anything there about centimeters to inches? Okay, what do you see?
2.54 centimeters equals an inch.
Right, 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. Okay, you need to pay attention. Today is not a day to not pay attention. 2.54 centimeters is 1 inch. So now we're done with our conversion chain because we've made it to inches. That's what we were trying to make it to. So we can cancel out centimeters and centimeters. Okay, 2.85 is our numerator because we would have just multiplied it by 1 and it stays at 2.85. The denominator is 2.54. When you divide that, what do you get? 1.12, and that's 1.12 what? Inches. Now, think about it using your common sense. Doesn't that make complete sense that if 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, that 2.85 centimeters would be just a little over an inch because that's just a little higher than 2.54? Okay, now let's look at number 2. We start our chain with 1 day, and we're trying to convert that into seconds. So, if you're starting out with 1 day in your first numerator, what needs to go in your next denominator? Well, days for sure. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1, but in this case it is. But it doesn't always have to be 1s in your denominators. What do you know about 1 day? What could you break it down into? 24 hours. Okay, then that means the next denominator needs to be in hours. What do you know about 1 hour? Okay, we're almost there. We got to get seconds though. What do you know about 1 minute? 60 seconds. So we've made it to the unit we want. We cancel out the rest. You see that all of your denominators are 1s. So you're not really going to have to worry about dividing when everything's a 1 on the bottom. But when you multiply all your numerators, what do you get? It's very close. You're just off. 86,400 seconds. So if you got 8,640, you must have like maybe left off a 0 on one of the 60s or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, number 3. Bob studied for 2.5 hours. How many minutes did he study for? Yes? Right. Okay, because for this one, I know that a conversion chain is not completely necessary. But if you don't know how to do it, you can always use one. So hours goes on bottom, and we're trying to convert to minutes. Well, what do we know about hours to minutes? 1 hour is 60 minutes. And then you're done with your chain because we've made it to minutes. Cross out hours over hours, and then the denominator is 1, so you're not going to have to worry about dividing. What is 2.5 times 60? 150 minutes. Now, I know that most of you would have just been like, okay, 2.5 hours. Each hour is 60 minutes, so 2 hours is 120, half an hour is 30, add it up. That's fine. There will be some of them you can do that simply. But some of them you're going to need to know how to make the conversion chain. Okay, let's look at number 4. 1.4 days converted into seconds. Go ahead and try this one by yourself. I'll give you a couple of minutes. 1.4 days. We got to convert it to seconds. What do you know about days? 1 day is 24 hours. What do you know about hours?
60 minutes to an hour.
Right? So this is pretty much like this example, right?
Yeah.
And then 1 minute, stop talking.
60 seconds in a minute.
Right. Now you'll notice that each of the denominators is just a 1. So you're not going to have to worry about dividing because the denominator is just going to end up 1. What do you end up with the numerator? 120,000. Yes, Stacy? Right. Yes. Yeah, anything in the top gets multiplied together. Okay, now turn to page 11. Turn to page 11. Be quiet, guys. Okay. We're going to be working on page 11, 12, and 13. We won't get them all done, and we're going to go out of order because I know which ones are easier and which ones were harder, so I want to go like easy up to hard. So let's start with a question like number 3. How many years old are you if you have lived 1 billion seconds? So what should our chain start with? 1 billion seconds. How many zeros are in a billion? 9. Okay, now, 1 billion seconds times. If my numerator here starts out in seconds, doesn't that mean I have to have seconds in the next denominator? No. What do you know about seconds? Right. Okay. Then the next denominator has to be in minutes. What do you know about minutes? Right. Now remember, we're trying to go all the way to years though. So now what has to go in the denominator? Hours. What do you know about hours? Right. Then you have to do days. What do you know about days? Right. You could, but then you'd have to do 52 weeks in a year if you did it like that. So yeah, if you did 7 days in 1 week, then you'd have to do 52 weeks 1 year, and you'd get the same answer. Okay, so 365 days in 1 year. Now we have made it to the unit that we want to be in, years. So all of these cancel each other out. Now this time, you're going to have to worry about the denominator because it's not going to be a 1. What is the numerator going to end up?
1 billion.
1 billion. Because look, 1 billion times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1 billion. Yep, it's 9. Okay, but then you got to divide that by your numerator, which ends up being what? Okay. 31 million. Too much extra talking. 536,000. Now divide those two numbers to see what the final answer is. Your decimal's in the wrong place, so you either like forgot a 0 or something. And what'd y'all get?
I got 31.7.
31.7. And what is that? Years. 31.7 years. So if you've lived at least 31.7 years, you have lived a billion seconds.
That's not old at all.
Thank you. Okay, now let's...
You're 31? You're old. That's old.
I'm over.
Bro, be quiet.
Okay, now let's look at number 5. A clerk can sort 375 sheets per hour. If there are 225 sheets in an inch, how long will it take her to, this says file, really, I think they meant to say sort again, 125 inches of loose sheets. Where do we start? Right, 125 inches is where we start because that's what she's starting with, right? Oh, give me 1 second.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so this clerk is starting out with 125 inches of loose sheets, and we want to know how long is it going to take her if there's 225 sheets in an inch, and if she can do 375 sheets per hour. So we start with 125 inches, right? So that means my next denominator has to be in inches. Well, what did the problems tell you up here about inches? Right, there are 225 sheets of paper in, that makes up 1 inch. Like if she stacked up 225 sheets, it would be 1 inch tall. So now that we're at sheets, my next denominator needs to be in sheets. And what do you know about it? Right, she can sort 375 sheets in 1 hour. Okay, are we finished with our chain yet? Because isn't the question asking how long will it take her? And isn't hours how long it will take, a time? Okay, so we're where we want to be. So we cross out inches with inches, sheets with sheets. The numerator ends up being 125 times 225 times 1, which is, okay, and the denominator ends up being 1 times 375, which is 375. And so how many hours is it going to take her? 75 hours. Okay, now flip to the next page. Now I want you to take a minute and try 7 and 8 by yourself. Convert 180 days in a minute. So what do we start our chain with, Caitlin?
Wait for number 7?
Yeah.
I don't know that one. I didn't.
180 days. Okay, 180 days. So obviously once you start with days, that means your next denominator has to be in days. And we're trying to go to minutes. What do you know about days?
24 hours.
There's what? 1 day is 24 hours. And then the next denominator has to be in hours. What do you know about hours? 1 hour. But remember, we're trying to go down to minutes.
I know. I was just trying to make it.
So 1 hour is 60 minutes. Okay, so we're where we want to be. We're 2 minutes. So cross out days, days, hours, hours. The denominator is just going to be 1, so we don't have to worry about it. What do you get when you multiply those 3 numerators together? 259,200. And that is minutes. Okay, number 8. Shh. Number 8. Convert your age into seconds. I'm just going to go with 14 years. Okay, so that means my next denominator needs to be years. And we're trying to go to seconds. So what do you know about years?
300.
Okay, then we got to go to days. What do you know about days?
24 hours.
Why?
1 day is 24 hours.
1 hour, 60 minutes.
And then 1 hour is 60 minutes. I'm going to have to move Caitlin away from y'all so she don't get wet from all the squirting I'm about to do.
So can I move back? Can I switch?
All right, so now we're almost there, but we got to get a second. So what do we know about minutes?
1 minute is 60 seconds.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the denominator because they're all ones. When you multiply each numerator, what do you end up with? 441,504,000. Is that what everybody sees on their calculators?
Yeah.
Okay, number 1 down bottom. Right here. Shh. Your cruise ship is leaving for a 610-league adventure. How many nautical miles is this? Okay, so where do we start our chain?
610.
610 leagues. Okay, so that means my next denominator needs to be leagues. And what did the problem tell us about leagues?
It's 500.
Right. 1 league is 5,280 yards. Okay, now I want you to look up at the screen so you don't miss this. Okay, everybody look. We're trying to solve for nautical miles. Well, they've told us that a nautical mile is that many feet. But the problem is we're currently in yards, so don't we need to switch over to feet? How can you switch from yards to feet?
Oh, 1 yard is 3 feet.
Right, 1 yard is 3 feet. Does that make sense? Now we're in feet, so now that I see that I have feet, now I'm able to use this 6,076 feet is 1 nautical mile. Okay, now I've made it to where I want to make the 2 nautical miles, so I can cross out all the other units. I do need to worry about the denominator this time because it's 6,076, and then the numerator is 610 times 5,280 times 3 times 1, which is 6 if you're going to round it to the hundreds. And that's nautical miles. Okay, I want to give you a couple of minutes to take a shot at number 2 and see how far you can make. Hurry, we gotta hurry.
I bought 2 pounds on there before. They
Okay,
gave me a CD that said
you
Jack.
need to start with 38 fathoms. Fathoms? Yeah. A fathom is 6 feet. Okay, it's evidently a nautical term. Okay, so now we have to move to fathoms down here. And what did they tell us about fathoms? Okay, hopefully everybody was able to make it at least that far, right?
Yeah.
Now, think about it like this. Look at the board. Our ultimate goal is to get to meters. Well, we can do that from centimeters by moving the decimal. But the only thing we know about this centimeters is that that amount equals 1 inch. So shouldn't we convert feet to inches? That way we can then convert that to centimeters?
Yeah.
How can you convert feet to inches?
1 foot.
1 foot equals 12 inches. Now that it's in inches, now we can use this 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Okay, now this is what I want you to do. Multiply those 4 numbers together and tell me what you get. 6,949.44. Okay, but that's in centimeters, remember? Because look, fathoms cancel out fathoms, feet, feet, inches, inches. So that's left in centimeters. To change that over to meters, can't you just use this little method we learned? Centimeters to meters moves left 2 places. So if you move that decimal point left 2 places, how many meters is that? So couldn't you just round that to 69.5 meters? Okay, turn to page 13. We're doing 2 more, and then we're done. We have 5. Okay, fortunately you survived. You are stranded on a deserted island that is located 12.5 degrees north of the equator. How many miles is this if 1 degree equals that many miles? So what do we start with? 12.5 degrees. Okay, since we're starting with degrees, we obviously have to put degrees in the denominator. And what do we know about degrees?
69.047.
Right, 1 degree equals 69.047 miles. Okay, and now aren't we trying to find miles? So we're finished with our chain because we've made it to the unit we want. So we get rid of degrees and degrees, and now we just multiply. The denominator's 1, so you're not going to have to divide. And what do you get?
3.08.
So 0.1 miles. Okay, last one we're doing today, number 4. To reach the top of a palm tree for a coconut, you will have to climb 7.4 meters. How many hands is this if 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters and 1 hand equals 4 inches? What do we start our chain with? 7.4 meters. So that means the next denominator has to be in meters. Well, we need to get to what? Well, but to get to inches, can't we first get to centimeters? Do you know how many centimeters are in 1 meter? 100. Let's talk about how she got that. Look, if you look at your little flip book, 1 meter would be right here. To get to centimeters, don't you have to move 2 to the right? So if you're at 1, and there's a decimal point, and you move it 2 to the right, don't you have to fill those with zeros? So that's how you got 100 centimeters. Now we've converted it to centimeters, which is helpful because now we can use this. That 2.54 centimeters is 1 inch. And now that we have inches up top, that's good because we can use this 4 inches equals 1 hand. Okay, so now in the top, those cancel out, leaving hand, which is good because that's what we were trying to figure out. How many hands is this? And now when you multiply the numerators, what's 7.4 times 100? 740. And then what's 1 times 2.54 times 4? 10.16. And then what does that reduce to? 72.8